In this video, I want to teach you some critical shortcut keys. There are a lot of shortcut keys out there, but these are a few of the ones I think are most important. I don't want you touching the mouse because I want to make you faster in Excel and more efficient, and being able to do this without touching the mouse is going to help you be faster. I take the approach of a music teacher or an athletic coach. You know, if you're learning a new instrument, you're playing the scales, which is not a song, but you're just repeating the notes and you're getting yourself familiar with the tools, with the different things you can do to make the music. So we're essentially we're playing the scales here so we can make a musical Excel spreadsheet. You need to learn this and you have the muscle memory to get this process down. So that's the motivation for this. I want you to repeat these steps 3 times in a row and then repeat as frequently as possible till you really get all of these down. Alright, so the first thing is to save the file. Once you're saving the file a lot, you just press Control S. And you can barely tell that I did that, but you can see it's saving the file, same place that it was already. Excel is going to, at some point, it's going to freeze up, your computer's going to crash. You want to have everything that you've done saved, and you don't want to lose a lot of work. So just, when you're working on a spreadsheet, just press Control S out of habit for no particular reason, just do it frequently. Alright, so I want you to insert a column between F and G. So if I'm here in column G, I can do this one of 2 ways. We're going to use the Control plus. So if I press Control plus, the screen comes up, and with the arrow key I can go through the 4 different options here. I want to insert an entire column, so I highlight that one and then hit enter, and enter chooses OK, and it inserts that column. Control Z undoes. I didn't write Control Z down here, but Control Z undoes what you just did. And the other way I could do this, if I have the column highlighted, I can press Control plus and it inserts that column. So now I've done that, I want to make this small. And the reason is, just visually, I like to have a break between my data. Here's some data, here's a bunch of words or numbers or whatever. Here's a bunch of words or numbers. Visually, I like to have a break in between those. Right, so now I want you to save this workbook as original and then save it as practice. I'm not going to do that, but the reason I want you to do it is if you're doing a lot of work in Excel, this version is right. All these numbers are right. This data is right. Everything is exactly like I want it. But as soon as I start doing things, I can make a mistake. I can screw something up. So I always like to go back to an original version of my data. So, I don't know what kind of mistake I made. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to open the original one. And then I want to have the practice one, or whatever I want to name it, that I'm constantly working on, constantly making updates, and constantly pressing Control S to keep it saved. Alright, so now, how do we move around the spreadsheet really quickly? Control plus the arrow keys. So I could, with the mouse, move the mouse to different places and click. But the way that's fastest to do this is Control plus the arrow key. So point number 4, type Panthers in cell XFD 1,048,576. And that's the one that's down here in the far right bottom corner. So the way I get there fastest, I do Control right arrow key, and that goes, notice it stopped in column F. That goes to where the data stops. Control right arrow key again goes to either the end of the spreadsheet or where there's some data. And by data I mean anything in a cell. There was nothing, so I went to the end. Control down. There was nothing there, so I can now type Panthers and enter. Control back across to the left, Control up, and Control up comes to the bottom of where there's data. Control up again gets me to the very top. So I could do Control down, Control over, however I want to do that, and I get back to right here. So those are my Control arrow keys. And number 5, I want to insert a new worksheet, and I do this right here. So Alt Shift F1, and then it inserts a new worksheet, and I can do Control page down, and it goes Control page down is going to move me across to the right. Control page up, did Shift Control page up, is going to move me the sheets through here. So again, I can touch the mouse. You can see I'm doing with the mouse and arrow by seeing the little arrow move, but I can do Control Page Up and down. So I want to, I've inserted that, I want to name it Exercise 1. So coming right here, right click, rename Exercise 1 and enter. Control Page down. And what do I want to do? I want to copy this entire worksheet into Exercise 1 and then complete the following steps from below. Alright, so when I do that, first I need to select the data. So if I press Control A for all, notice if I'm inside, I started from inside where all this data was, and Excel guesses I just want to copy that data. If I press Control A again, it highlights the entire worksheet. If I'm over here in some blank cell, Control A, Excel guesses you must want to copy, or select, I should say, you must want to select the entire thing. I do Control C to copy, and you see the dancing ants. That means I've actually selected it. If I do Escape, it gets rid of it. Control C again, I'm ready to copy something. I come back over here to Exercise 1, and I do Control Page Up. And now I'm going to do something wrong here to show you a common mistake. To copy this, I want to press Control V. I don't want to do it with the mouse and clicking anything. I want to press Control V, but when I do that, it gives me that error. Why does it give me that error? Because I'm trying to copy the entire worksheet, and it's a fixed amount of space. It's a finite number of rows and columns. It goes to column XFD, it goes to row 1,048,576. So if I'm here, I can't copy all of those rows, but if I'm in cell A1, Control V, I can paste all of those rows in there. So now I'm on Exercise 1, and I want to cut the stock data in columns A through F and move it to O through T. So there's a difference in copying and cutting. And it just depends on the situation. So if I do Control A, that selects all of it. If I were to copy it, I'll do it that way first. Control C, see the dancing ants. Come over here to where I want copied to. Control V, copy. It keeps the original and adds a new one. It copies it. Control Z undoes that. If I'm back over here again, I'm going to escape just to start over. So I come in here anywhere. Control A to select everything. Control X to cut. Come back over here where I want it to go. And Control V, that moves it over to there. So the next thing is I want to add a row. So Control plus and add an entire row. And the reason is I have Panthers there in the bottom. I'm not going to deal with that because with Panthers where it is, it doesn't want to lose that. So I'll skip that one for now. The next, delete columns A through N. So I can select A through N. Control minus. And when I do Control minus, because I'm doing a lot of stuff here, usually it doesn't give me any kind of warning, but this is a large operation. So with the arrows I can select OK. So yeah, I want to do that. And now it's cut it. And that's everything that we need to do. And the last thing, I went ahead and deleted Panthers, the cell in the very bottom with that, and Control plus to add the entire row. And again, it thinks it's a large operation. It's not really, but because we've had a bunch of data moved around, just click OK, and now I've inserted that row. And that's it. So do this, repeat it 3 times, and make sure you're constantly pressing Control S to save.